I hate it. Ugh. It's really bothersome to see these young kids essentially groomed to act in a particular way to fit the mommy's rich housewife with obedient children narrative that she's trying to create for herself. It's almost like they're little clones. They're all dressed in matching outfits all the time. You never hear them speaking anything that wasn't rehearsed. They don't have a sense of individuality. They're trained on what to say and they stay silent otherwise. Either they're always silent at home and they don't have that expressiveness and excitement that you would expect from young kids their age, or they've just learned that they have to be quiet when the camera's on when mommy is filming, and honestly, both are heartbreaking scenarios. I don't know which one is worse. I hate them both. Hi, so I think I found the influencer who wins the award for making me the most uncomfortable when I watch their content, just in terms of me not being able to figure out what is going on and what exactly it is I'm watching. A big part of my job is analyzing weird things I see on the internet, and I like to think that at this point I'm like kind of good at sussing people out and debunking weird things, figuring out the motive behind what it is they're doing and why they're making this content, and kind of laying it all out in these videos and explaining that to you. But this influencer has me genuinely stumped, and I just need to talk about this with somebody. I need you to see what I'm seeing and help me make sense of it, because it's bizarre. The best word that I have for it is dystopian. I feel really uncomfortable watching her videos, and I'm sure that you're gonna feel the same way too. There are influencers who are out of touch, and it's kind of their whole thing to portray this like unrelatable lifestyle that people are interested in, but this is different. This is something more. This is like creepy, dystopian, unsettling Black Mirror vibes. Usually I try to make these influencer insanity videos somewhat educational or insightful, where I like teach you about some weird social media trend to be on the lookout for or something. But today we're mostly just gonna be gawking and raising an eyebrow and being weirded out together, as well as calling her out for lying on multiple occasions, because as I dug into her content trying to figure out what the heck is going on, I discovered that she lies a lot. Like almost in every single video, and you can catch it if you just look hard enough. And in saying that, maybe it's worth not taking her content too seriously, because we have concrete proof that most of it is fabricated and faked to some degree, but that doesn't make it any less strange. This creator goes by the username Anna Twinsies on all platforms. She's got 2.6 million followers on TikTok, 2.4 million followers on Instagram, and over 9 million subscribers on YouTube. She primarily uses YouTube for their shorts feature, not full-length YouTube videos, so she's mainly a short-form content creator in the mommy lifestyle niche, specifically the mom of twins. She has two sets of twins, and I believe at the time of filming this video, her older set of twins are 7 years old and the younger set are 5 years old. And funny enough, my husband was the one who brought this creator to my attention. He sent me one of her videos one day and was like, I think you should look into this. We were both just kind of unsettled and confused about what was going on in her video, that it made me feel compelled to start digging more into her other videos. And it was like, the deeper I dug, the more confused I got, the more uncomfortable I felt, and the more lies I uncovered. It was a really fun rabbit hole to go down, so I'm hoping to take you on that journey with me in this video today. Let's start with the video my husband sent to me, the one that sparked it all. Credit to AJ. She does these ASMR style videos where there's no talking or narration, it's just sounds, which I think adds to the creep factor. Typically with ASMR videos, they're featuring sounds made by objects, so like cracking open a can or clicking your nails on something or crinkling some kind of packaging. But this influencer is doing ASMR videos of her daily routines of her mom life, but her life as a mom of 4 children under the age of 7, it doesn't sound the way that you would expect it to, which is unsettling, and you'll see exactly what I mean. I know sometimes people like to listen to my videos like podcasts, but for this one today, I do think it's important that you watch what's going on in these clips so that you really get the whole vibe. I'll show you this first example all the way through uninterrupted, and then I'll point out all of the weirdness I'm feeling. see what I mean. Something is off here. Something is not right. Let's just go down the list of the strange things I noticed. The first thing that caught my attention right off the bat is the shortest sequin shorts I've ever seen in my entire life, with fishnet stockings, thigh-high leather boots, and a trench coat as her outfit of choice for school drop-off. And also, her kids wearing pretty formal attire for school too. Her girls are all in these like matching suede tailcoat jackets and feather skirts. Her son is in a full child-size suit. And I'm not shaming their style choices. They look fabulous, okay? I'm just observing, I get the sense that this is not your average family. Something is going on here that I can't personally relate to. This is unusual to me. Then she dropped her kids at school. Then she drove somewhere that is not her house to have a bath on a rooftop at 9 in the morning. Okay, odd. Then she comes back home, she makes herself a matcha, and then her girls walk in the front door at 11:30 a.m. as if they didn't just get dropped off at school 3 hours ago. Why are they home before lunch? I have questions about that. And they don't just walk in the door like you would expect kids to walk in the door after they get home from school. They come in and then they hang up their little pearl handbags somewhere, and then they line up their shoes perfectly, and they turn around and they go, "Hi, mommy," in this little terrifying robot voice. They're these young kids greeting their mom very formally as she walks down the stairs towards them. That's the most unsettling part of all of this to me. What child does that unless they were instructed to do that? It's so creepy, it makes my skin crawl. Then the girls all get a bath right after coming home from school using shampoo and conditioner that is $170 a bottle. I'd never heard of this brand before, but the bottles just looked expensive, where I was like, I should probably Google this. And sure enough, the shampoo, $170. The conditioner, $196 a bottle. I was not prepared for the sticker shock. And that's just two of the products that she showcases that she uses on her kids. Okay, these little girls have a $500 to $600 hair care routine. Then their older brother gets home at 12:35, and this is where it occurs to me that we have no idea how these kids are getting home from school. She drove them all to school together, but then they get back home at 2 different times, seemingly just appearing at the doorstep. Who brought them home? My first thought is that they probably have a nanny. This family gives me nanny vibes. But then I found this caption on one of her other videos where she claims that, quote, "Many people assume I have nannies or extra help, but I don't. I'm a bit of a control freak, hee hee." You don't say. So are the kids within walking distance from school? Did they walk home? Did their dad pick them up? Did she pick them up, but she's just editing that part out of the video to make it look like she didn't? Who knows? But what I do think is strange is that when I paused on this frame of the son walking through the door, I noticed that what's going on in the driveway in the background is not the same as what I saw in the background when the daughters got home from school just an hour before. I'm gonna put these 3 screenshots on the screen. These are all from the same exact video. 10:35, mom comes home and there's a white car with some kind of business decal on the passenger door. 11:35, the girls are teleported home, but now there's a black SUV parked in one direction and a tan SUV parked facing the other direction. So 2 brand new cars that we haven't seen before. Then supposedly 40 minutes later, the son gets home, but those 2 SUVs are gone and the white car with the decal is back in the exact same spot that it was in 2 hours prior. Clearly something's not adding up. There's a lie in here somewhere, one of many that I found in her content that I'm gonna expose in this video. I think we can conclude that mom and son got home around the same time, or at least she took those clips at the same time. And the girls got home at an entirely different time, but for some reason she wants us to believe that it went mom, girls, son. She's putting it in this particular timestamp sequence that clearly didn't happen the way she's saying, but why? What's the purpose in lying? It just makes everything seem so much weirder to me, as if it wasn't unbelievable enough, the strange timeline, but now we're knowing that she's faking the timeline. It doesn't make sense. Then he goes upstairs, he gets a shower with a different super expensive shampoo and conditioner set, and then she sets up all the kids on the couch with hot chocolate in their robes, which looks really cute and cozy. And then she ends the video by running the dishwasher, but instead of putting the dish detergent into that little slot in the dishwasher door like you would expect, she just tosses it into the handle of the top rack of the dishwasher, and she does this in multiple videos like it's not an accident. It's just another really odd detail that sets you off kilter a little bit. That's what it is. I just feel slightly disoriented when I'm watching her videos. Something is off, but I can't put my finger on it. The timelines are off, there are inconsistencies, they've clearly got money, and it appears to be a priority of hers to show that off in her videos. The kids seem unnervingly well dressed and well behaved, and that's another thing. These are ASMR videos, so when she's filming them, you can hear the ambiance of her house and what it sounds like in the background, and you'll notice that you never hear the children unless they're saying a line that they were clearly instructed instructed and rehearsed to say. It gives me the heebie-jeebies. I hate it. It makes me so uncomfortable. And this dynamic is especially relevant in this next example. She's got 4 young children, but her house doesn't sound like she's got 4 young children when she's filming. They just held hands facing each other and said, "Best friends forever, yeah!" and jumped in unison, okay? Clearly rehearsed. Gross. They would not be doing this unless they were told to do that for the camera. It's just disgusting.
He likes to dog chat. Hi, Mama.
Ugh, I hate it. I hate it. Ugh.
So good.
So good. There's 4 children home. Why do you not hear 4 children in the background of these videos? You know what I think it is, and I think other parents of young kids can relate to this. When you're home with your kids and it's too silent, you know something's up. You're worried. You immediately have your guard up. Where are they? What are they getting into? What are they doing that they shouldn't be doing? Silence is typically never a good sign in the mind of a parent. And so to hear complete silence in the background of this gigantic echoey house that she's filming in when she has 4 kids under the age of 7, it's incredibly jarring. Something's not right. And oh my God, can we talk about this shot right here of her kids like waving up at the balcony, "Hi, mommy," and them waving down, "Hi, kids." Not to be dramatic, but that sends chills down my spine. And I think it's because I'm looking at it from a content creator standpoint and I know what it took to get those different shots. She's got one shot of the 2 kids at the bottom of the stairs looking up and waving, and then she's got another shot of all 4 of them looking at each other waving. So this means at one point her camera was on the ground floor and she's like, "Okay, ready, action, look up and pretend like you're waving at me." Then she takes that camera, she walks halfway up the stairs, she sets it up again, she gets in position. "Okay, ready, action, take 2. Let's wave at each other for the camera." Her older daughter's braid was behind her shoulders on the first shot and it was in front of her shoulders on the second shot, which tells me that this was not 2 different cameras capturing 2 angles of the same moment. These were 2 separate shots with some setup and instruction in between. These poor kids are just getting home from school and their mom is making them stop, position themselves, and act for the sake of a social media video. It's honestly disgusting. It's really sad. The same thing happened in the last video I showed you too. In the scene with her daughters getting home from school, there's one shot of them taking off their shoes, another shot lining up the shoes, a third shot of them hanging up their purses, a 4th shot of them waving up to mom, and then them approaching her to hug her, and then the shot walking up the stairs. These are all individual clips in a video edit sequence separated by cuts where the mom is repositioning the camera, instructing the children on what to do, and capturing all the different angles to then edit together into a scene of the children getting home from school. It's like a miniature movie set, except for you're 5 years old just trying to come home from school and relax for the evening, but you're not allowed to because your mom is an influencer and she has content to create with you as the supporting role. It's really bothersome to see these young kids essentially groomed to act in a particular way to fit the mommy's rich housewife with obedient children narrative that she's trying to create for herself. It's almost like they're little clones. They're all dressed in matching outfits all the time. You never hear them speaking anything that wasn't rehearsed. They don't have a sense of individuality. They're trained on what to say and they stay silent otherwise. Either they're always silent at home and they don't have that expressiveness and excitement that you would expect from young kids their age, or they've just learned that they have to be quiet when the camera's on when mommy is filming. And honestly, both are heartbreaking scenarios. I don't don't know which one is worse. I hate them both. Here's another example that doesn't involve the kids as much, but it's still off-putting for different reasons. I'll just narrate through this one. So she's got 4 kids to drop off at school, so she's leaving the house at 8:24, and then she claims that she's at her Pilates class only 5 minutes later at 8:29, which I find extremely hard to believe. And then the rest of this video is just her doing her Pilates class. Then she gets home and she unboxes an Hermes Birkin bag. These handbags cost tens of thousands of dollars, you guys, depending on what style you get, and she's just casually opening one of these on a weekday morning as part of her day in the life vlog. Then she makes herself an omelet, then she takes a shower, she does her skincare, and then her kids magically arrive home to greet her around noon, which again, the timing of when the kids get home from school is always different, and it's always way sooner than you would think. In the first video I showed you, all 3 of her girls get home around 11:30 in the morning, and then her son got home around 12:30. In the second video, her 2 younger twins got home around 2:30, and then her older twins got home around 3. In the third video, all 4 of her kids get home together at 12:30. There's another one I saw where her younger kids get home at 12:30 and her older kids get home at 1:30. I just have so many questions. Where are the kids going? Why is their school day always a different length? How come sometimes they all come home together and sometimes they come home separately? Who transports them home? And ultimately, none of those details are any of my business. And I'm sure there's some kind of reasonable explanation for it, like they go to some kind of private or alternative school. Maybe they just have like tutoring in the mornings or something. Maybe she's lying about the timelines altogether, which would not be surprising. But it's just yet another thing that makes you go, something about this just doesn't feel relatable. It feels strange. You might be thinking, well, I'm a stay-at-home mom to multiple kids, but I can't relate to this lifestyle on any level. But the examples I've shown you so far are pretty consistent representations of what she's doing in many other videos too. She drops the kids off somewhere, and then she goes to the spa, to Pilates, to brunch, to cooking classes, going shopping. Pretty much every kind of luxurious self-care activity you could possibly think of, that's how she spends her time during the day. And then her kids magically show back up at the house at some point, and then she takes them upstairs and pampers them with very expensive products. And I also noticed that she's driving different cars in a lot of her videos too. Sometimes it's an Escalade, sometimes it's a G-Wagon, sometimes it's a Cybertruck. Just another one of those details that subconsciously signals to you like this is not relatable mom lifestyle content. There's definitely a discussion to be had here about wealth and money, and we're gonna get into that a little towards the end of this video, but another big thing about her videos that perplexes me is the camera angles. This is something so quick and subtle that your brain might not register it in the moment, but the way in which her content is filmed also subconsciously tells our brains like this is not real. This is not the normal kind of mommy influencer content we're used to seeing. This is unique, and our brains are taking note of it from that. Here's what I mean. What do you notice about this sequence of shots of her getting into her car at the beginning of this video? She's got one shot of her car sitting in the driveway from way up high, where it looks like she's positioned her camera on the upstairs balcony. Then the next shot is an aerial view of her car driving out of the driveway from above, like it's being taken from a drone. And then the third shot is selfie style of her driving the car from the inside. From a content creation standpoint, 10 out of 10 for creativity and effort, but from a practicality, real life standpoint, this adds to the fact that this is all staged and acted out. Because again, the options are she's got 3 different cameras rolling at the same time to capture the same moment in time, or what I think is more likely is she goes upstairs, she sets up her camera in the balcony, she goes downstairs, gets in her car, drives away, backs up, goes back up the stairs, retrieves the camera, brings it down to her car, at which point she's then able to drive away for real. This upstairs balcony driveway angle is pretty consistent in most of her other videos of this format. It's like her signature way that she starts out the video, but the aerial shot is more rare. She does not always include one of these, but that's another element. You're positioning the drone, you're pressing record, you're driving away, then you're reversing the car, then you're retrieving the drone. Like, it's so much work and effort and time. Her timestamps on this video make you believe that she walked out the front door with her 4 kids at 9:01, and by 9:03 she's driving down the driveway. That's not what's happening at all. It's quite literally impossible to fit all of this into 2 minutes, getting all these different camera angles. Going back to what I was saying earlier about this video, she says that she's walking out the front door at 8:22, and somehow she's magically able to drop off her kids and then arrive at Pilates only 7 minutes later. It's just not happening. That's fully a lie. It's gonna take you 7 minutes just to get your kids situated in the car and then hike back upstairs to retrieve the camera. Again, adding to the unrealistic nature of her videos that you can be this efficient, productive, effortless mom. This is not effortless. In fact, this is an exceptional amount of effort. Filming yourself living your life is way more effort than just living your life. Later in this same video, there is a split-second clip of her car driving by on the road. It's so fast you might not even notice it the first time you're watching this video through. But what this means, to get this shot, she had to pull over somewhere, set up her camera, record herself driving by, flip a U-ey, come back and get the camera. All of that for this like half a second clip. I appreciate the effort, but dang. And if you look really closely at this clip, her camera is not stationary. It's moving ever so slightly, which is really strange because it almost gives the impression that it's not propped up on something, but rather somebody is holding it. And after I saw this, I was like, wait a minute, does this happen other times in her videos too? And sure enough, it does. Remember the first video I showed you where she was in that weird like rooftop tub situation? Look at how the camera is moving as she's walking out of the building onto the rooftop. And look at what's happening when she's sitting in the tub away from her camera, completely hands off of it. Who is moving the camera? Who's walking behind her out of the building? Who's panning the camera around while she's in the tub? This is not a stationary camera on a tripod like you would expect from an influencer. She's either got a person filming her in real time or she's got some kind of equipment that's following her movements. And it's the little tiny things like this that you might not pick up on initially, but it sends that message again to your brain like something's going on here that I can't quite understand. There's more going on off camera than we realize. And even more proof of that, I caught her in some pretty concrete lies about her timeline of things. I'm just gonna zip through this video really quick. Okay, she makes her kids breakfast, then she gets them dressed, she packs their lunch, she drops them off at school, then she goes to an aerial yoga class, then she goes to her nail appointment, and then she comes home to unbox a lot of PR packages. I don't think I would have picked up on this lie if she didn't make a point of showing us that she had a nail appointment and showing us that she went in with bright pink nails and she came out with white nails. And when I was watching the video back from the beginning, I noticed that her nail color actually changes throughout the entire video. She wants you to believe that there's this chronological timeline of events where she gets up, she gets her kids ready for the day, she sends them to school, and then she spends the day pampering herself, but that's not what happens. Check this out. 7:15, she's making breakfast and she has pink nails. 7:34, she's picking out her outfit for the day, but she has white nails. 7:43, doing her daughter's hair, back to pink nails. 7:48, packing the kids' lunch, back to white nails again. 9:55 at aerial yoga, pink nails, and then at 11:01, the pink is getting taken off for the third time that morning, and she now has white nails for the rest of the video. God, I love concrete proof of lying. It really doesn't get more compelling than that when it comes to proving that you really can't trust much of what influencers post. The day she wants you to believe she's having is not the day she's having. They can't even be honest about the order of events in which their life happens. And then this just got me wondering, okay, are there any other videos of her where her nails expose her for lying about the timeline? And sure enough, here's another one. This is nearly identical in structure to the video we just watched. Okay, she's making breakfast for her kids, she's getting them ready for the day, she takes them to school, then she goes to a fitness class, then she gets some beauty treatments done. 7:11, she's making breakfast with French tip nails. 7:44, she's picking out her outfit, but she has hot pink nails. 8:05, packing lunches, and then she's back to French tips. 8:55 at yoga, back with hot pink nails. And finally at 10:38 at her beauty treatment, back to French tips. And what just kills me about this is obviously her fitness class and her beauty treatments happened on different days, but she is committed to wearing the exact same outfit to make it seem like it happened on the same day. If you look super closely at these pictures, you'll see it's the same outfit with different nails. She made the calculated decision to dress exactly the same for these two different appointments on two different days because she knew that she was going to be cutting and splicing these two clips together for a video to make viewers believe that they happened hours apart. The dedication to being deceptive is really astounding. You really just can't believe anything they're doing. It's crazy. Here's another video she posted that got people's attention based on how bizarre it was. And I'm going to preface this by saying it appears she has a weird obsession with Waymo. If you're not familiar, Waymo is a self-driving car transportation service that's rolling out in some major cities across the US, including San Francisco, where this influencer lives. It's like ordering an Uber, except for the Uber that arrives to you doesn't have a driver in it. It's an autonomous vehicle. And I was noticing that in a couple of her videos, she includes clips of Waymos out on the road for whatever reason. Like she specifically makes sure to film it and include it in the vlogs. I don't know, it's kind of strange. I'm not really sure what the motive in doing that would be. And then there's this video in particular where she features Waymo as a highlight of the video, along with several other different like robot or autonomous service provider kinds of things while she's out having a day with her son. The whole time throughout this video, she's wearing Apple Vision Pros, which I did not know what these were until this point, so I had to look it up. And apparently it's like a virtual reality headset where you can see digital elements overlaid into your physical surroundings, but it's not for the purposes of like entertainment or gaming VR headsets. This is extra dystopian because you can see all of your iPhone apps in front of you and you can scroll to them using your eyeballs. How is this possible? I'm terrified of this kind of technology. Oh my God. It's like the elements of your phone get embedded into your field of vision at all times, and I am terrified about the implications of something like this, thinking about a future in which we're walking around with these VR headsets and like texting with our eyes and stuff. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing? But anyway, aside from that and my like panic spiral about where we're going as a society, she never takes these off throughout the entire video. First, she orders a Waymo from her phone. They get into the self-driving car and it takes them to the mall where they then order drinks from a robot barista. Then later they go to a movie theater where this robot server delivers food and drinks to the different theaters. Then they go home and they play with their robot dog. Yes, you heard that correctly. Robot dog. Or as my 2-year-old calls it, Wobot doggy. We were on our military base for an Easter event last month and they had one of these robot dogs there and she has not stopped talking about it since. Anyway, that's a story for another day. It's at this point in the video that I noticed that she has got herself and her kids all dressed in gray and silver, and all of the girls have a space bun hairstyle. So she's like dressing her kids up to fit the theme of this futuristic robot video. It's like they're actors dressing for a role. Like, this is not their real life. She clearly curated the outfits and the different events of the day to go with this theme that she had in her mind for a piece of content she wanted to post. Later, they play with the robot dog some more in the living room, and then she ends the video by setting off her robot vacuum in her house. This video got over 7 million views, and the comments encapsulate what I'm feeling when I watch it. May this lifestyle never find me. If that's our future, I don't want it. Which Black Mirror episode is this? It's giving depression. No eye contact with the child is extremely upsetting from a child psychology point of view. This is so sad. The headset, the robot making the coffee, the robot dog, this couldn't be more dystopian to me. It's all just so unsettling and bizarre, and I think relating it to a Black Mirror episode is very fitting, not just in this particular robot video, but like the whole life she's portraying online has Black Mirror vibes to it. It evokes the same kind of emotion when you're watching her content as you feel watching Black Mirror. And to no one's surprise, I caught her lying about the timeline in this video too. She claimed to be ordering the Waymo at 11:16, but the time on her phone says 2:32. And then when they're in the car, she says that they're driving at 11:45, but the GPS on the car says that they're arriving in 1 minute at 3:19. None of this makes any sense, you guys. I feel more confused the more I watch her content. Why all of the lying? Why all of the flaunting of wealth? Why are the kids so silent all the time? Some people are so put off by her that they have accused her of being AI, which is not true, but I definitely understand that feeling when you watch her content. Like, it's almost real, it's almost believable, but not quite, and you can't put your finger on why. Your brain just kind of perceives it as a threat. Like, it's the weirdest thing. And we have yet to dive into the really obvious characteristic of her content, which is the wealth, the money, and how she really puts that at the center of everything. Even if her content wasn't creepy and confusing, it would still be like interesting and compelling to watch because they're clearly really rich. She's living a life of luxury, or at least she's making it seem that way, and that in itself is interesting to watch, and she's kind of making a spectacle out of it. So let's talk about the wealth aspect of it. It's clear they've got money, and they've got loud money. There's a conversation on social media recently about loud money or new money versus old money, and kind of what that looks like and how you can interpret it. And loud money is like big attention-seeking cars and designer brand names plastered on everything, diamonds and jewels, kind of like shoving your wealth in people's face at every opportunity. She didn't have to show us that she was using $170 shampoo on her 5-year-old, but she did. There's a reason for that. Why did she do that? And the conclusion kind of is that's loud money. That's a good example of that. Whereas old money is subtle, it's elegant. You don't see the brand name, and you might not even recognize what that person's wearing because it's so out of your league that you've never even heard of that designer before. It's more artistic and abstract. Like, they've clearly got money, but they don't feel the need to flaunt it or to prove anything. This creator to me has loud money written all over it. She's putting her wealth front and center consistently in her content. I even saw in the background of one of her videos that her son's backpack has the word word Versace couture printed on it. Like, that's so unnecessary. We get it, you have money, but shoving the money in the viewer's face like this, I think it's natural to wonder, how are you able to afford all of this? You don't appear to have a job, so does your husband make a lot of money? Or maybe you yourself make a lot of money from being an influencer? She has the persona of a rich mom who can afford everything but does nothing. And I know that sounds rude. She clearly cares for the kids when they get home, giving them baths, cooking meals, whatever, so I know she doesn't literally do nothing. But most of her days seem to be spent pampering herself while the kids are at school and spending money and not working. Sounds like the dream. Like, how do you achieve that? Let me know. It's confusing to the viewer because you know that the money to fund this kind of lifestyle has to come from somewhere, so where is it coming from? People are curious about that aspect of it, and I think that's natural. It's perplexing to see somebody so wealthy while also not appearing to work ever. And I don't have the answer as to where her wealth comes from. I think her videos are pretty cryptic and she doesn't offer a lot of personal information, but I would bet that getting millions of views across 3 monetized social media platforms probably has something to do with it. And going back to what I was saying about loud money earlier, loud money is also typically new money, where a person has just recently come into wealth and they're being really loud about it and sometimes reckless with it, and they're shoving it in people's faces so everybody knows, hey, look, I'm flexing my position and my higher socioeconomic status and the fact that I've just come into a lot of money lately. Old money doesn't have to prove itself that way. So all of this financial flexing has me thinking that she probably became rich relatively recently. And this can kind of be corroborated if you just scroll back into the history of her content over the past few years. And I do have a couple of theories and ideas about how her content ended up here. The videos that perform the best across all of her platforms are the ones that I've shown you in this video today. The ASMR time-stamped videos of a day in the life when her kids are gone at school and she just spends the whole day pampering herself. And what I noticed based on looking at her account as a whole is that these kinds of ASMR timestamp videos, that's not even her main content. She's only been making videos of that style in the past like 5 months or so. And it was only after her first video in that format went mega viral at the end of 2024. The first viral video happens to be the one that my husband sent to me that sparked my desire to make this video. It got almost 39 million views on Instagram, which is outrageous. Then a couple weeks later, after she saw how well that first video did, she made a second, nearly identical video doing almost the exact same daily routine. She takes her kids to school, she does the whole rooftop bathtub situation, she comes home, she makes a matcha, then the girls get home first and they get a luxurious bath, and then the brother gets home next, and then they finish their day in their robes with hot chocolate watching a movie. It is the exact same video format as the first viral video, except for she's just featuring different products and different outfits being worn. Except for now, this video got 4 times the number of views as the first one. It caps off at 176 million views on Instagram. So now that she knows what works and what's getting attention and what's going viral, she's been making a lot of that similar style video in the months since. But that wasn't always the case. If you scroll back really far to see what kinds of videos she was posting a few years ago when her kids were toddlers, this is what you would find. Here's one where she's dancing, saying other moms versus me as a mom, and she's like doing all these wild dance moves. Me at 25 wanting to pursue medical career and never have kids versus me now with 2 sets of twins and no career. Spending $5 on your own top versus spending $500 on your kids' clothes. You can see that she lived in an average looking house with an average looking car. She's cracking jokes about her house being a disaster and how her kids are driving her crazy while wearing leggings in a way that's very silly and relatable to most moms of young kids. Money was never the topic of conversation in these earlier videos. She just looked to be living a very average middle class lifestyle. And this kind of feels like proof to me maybe that she's got that new loud money going on that also seems to be correlated to her social media growth over the past few years, or at least some kind of newfound wealth coming from some recent income stream. Because the spa days and Pilates wasn't always her life. And I noticed that as the years go on, she's posting less about her role as a relatable mom, and she's posting more content featuring primarily her kids and putting them on display. Specifically doing little challenges or skits like dressing up my twins in silly little outfits to see how grandma responds, or giving 2 sets of twins only 1 brownie to see if they share. They'll sometimes do like little choreographed dances or twin telepathy challenges or whatever, which I'll be honest is still really cringy and weird and exploitative in its own right. To have your kids dancing and acting out things on camera to film them and post them to make money off of them, don't love that, don't agree with that whatsoever. But the point is that her content didn't always used to be what it is today, which is that bizarre dystopian out of touch wealthy mom life kind of stuff. She used to kind of fall right in the middle of the pack when it came to mommy influencers, and nothing she really did stood out. Although she always tried to stand out based on the fact that she has 2 sets of twins. That's really unique, and that's what all of her content was centered around. It wasn't until very, very recently, like within the past few months, that she's changed direction completely and gone from this like silly, lighthearted, relatable approach to this Black Mirror dystopian style where her wealth and privilege is front and center. So what I think most likely happened is that her content style evolved over time as she started to make more money to become more and more unrelatable. Because in a way, the more unrelatable you are and the more strange and unique your content is, the more attention it gets. And one day she made this exceptionally bizarre video that went viral, and now that has kind of become the template for her content moving forward past that point. Silly, relatable mom influencers are kind of a dime a dozen. They don't really stand out that much. But you know what does stand out? Portraying the life of somebody so rich that most people can't even begin to imagine it. So they stay and they watch because it's so out of their league that it's captivating, it's perplexing, and they want to see somebody living in such an unusual way. I think that she now knows that ASMR rich mommy persona performs the best, and that's what makes the most money, so that's the direction she's been going in with her content so far this year. And she's been afforded the possibility to make this out of touch, unrelatable content thanks to the money she made back when she was relatable. The content feeds the income, feeds the content, right? And this is another influencer phenomenon that I would love to talk about in its own video one day, how influencers build their platform being so genuine and relatable and down to earth, and they start making money off of that, and then somewhere along the line, the fame and the money, it gets to their head, and they transform into this completely different creator than the one that viewers fell in love with initially that brought them that wealth and success. And they kind of have this fall from grace moment where like all their original viewers who lifted them up, they drop off because they're like, I don't know who you are anymore. But then this new wave of viewers comes in and they start following them based on who they are today and not who they used to be. I think it's a very interesting phenomenon that I would love to talk about in a future video. So just a side note, if you have any specific influencers that you can think of that have done that exact phenomenon, the ones I'm thinking of are Jaclyn Hill and Macy Blackwell specifically. But if you have examples of other influencers that also fit that dynamic, please shoot me an email, send it my way. I'll start compiling them for that video. Anyway, that's kind of one of my theories, that she started out normal, but then she became abnormal thanks to money, thanks to her growth as a creator. My other theory is that it's all rage bait, right? Maybe she's hoping that you'll notice her different nail colors and the time discrepancies and the weird way she throws the detergent into the dishwasher and the creepy way her kids act around her. Maybe it's all intentional, and maybe she wants you to focus on those things so that you comment on those things. Because what happens when you leave a comment? It boosts the engagement on that post, it gets pushed out in the algorithm, more people see it, more money she makes. I definitely think there's an element of rage bait in these more recent videos because she saw how effective that was when it comes to going viral. And I think that it's safe to say that she's not living the life that she's portraying in these videos because we've caught her in so many different lies. But at the end of the day, she probably doesn't care about being truthful because the lies are more compelling than the truth. The lies, the fabrication, the extravagance of it all, that's what gets views. That's what makes the money. So that's the direction she's going in. And it's up to us as viewers to be able to recognize that's a lie, that's false, she's not actually living that life, and she's only doing this because it makes her money. So for some closing thoughts, I know that at the start of this video, I was like, what's going on here? I have no idea. I'm just so confused at this bizarre content. But actually, now that I think about it, it's clear that there's gotta be some kind of strategy behind it, right? Even if we don't fully understand what the strategy is, it's clearly working for her. And there's clearly a motive behind the way she creates her content, right? But the point is that these videos are not real life. And I hope that if you come across them in the wild, you're able to recognize that sooner rather than later. It almost just feels like she's acting or something, like she's putting on an entire production for her social media, living a life that's not true. And I think it would be so unfair to ourselves to watch it and to try and compare ourselves to it and let it make us feel bad about ourselves. Because although she's a stay-at-home mom with several young kids, and that on paper is relatable to lots of other people out there who are also stay-at-home moms of young kids, there are so many factors going on in her life behind the scenes that make her completely unrelatable to the average family. And in a way, that's kind of become her brand or her niche, and it's not fair to compare yourself to that. So I'm really interested to see what you're thinking about this as well. I want you to leave your thoughts and your theories about what's going on in the comments down below. I think most of it can be chalked up to newfound wealth and recent viral videos, as well as rage baiting, but I'm sure there's other things maybe that are going on here that I'm just not seeing right now. So if you have your own theories about what the heck is going on in this content, leave them in the comments down below. That's everything I have for you for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. It was a totally like random thing that just kind of popped up for me. It wasn't on my initial list of influencer topics that I was gonna cover. It was kind of just this weird piece of content that sent me down this weird rabbit hole that I found very entertaining, so I hope you were able to find it entertaining too. That's all I've got for you today. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you, and I'll see you in my next one real soon.